Hi everybody, Jake here for FMSCOUT, and in today's video I'm bringing you guys 10 of the best performing Wonderkids in FM21. Maybe you'll know a couple of them, but I imagine the majority you won't know. Now what do we mean by best performing? Well, me and the team have researched and I found this very interesting, and I hope it's very useful to you guys too, because I haven't really seen this done. These 10 Wonderkids have fixed values for some of their hidden attributes, which will mean that hopefully, all being well, unless you really mess them up, they should perform consistently well in your saves no matter what save that you do. So to filter out the players and find the ones that we wanted for this video, we look for players with 14 plus fixed consistency, so in every save they'll have 14 plus consistency, and then the same for professionalism, determination and natural fitness. On top of that we added a filter for injury proneness and also for ambition to filter out like the worst players who are always going to get injured and that kind of thing. And that left us with 10 Wonderkids who I would consider fairly unknown for this list. Now, there were some that we completely left out because they're obviously too well known, your Haalands, etc. But other than 2 or 3 players in this list, I don't think you guys are regularly signing any of these players. So before we get into them and show them off, I'd just like to ask you guys, if you haven't already, smash the like button down below, comment if you like any of these players or if you have any other players that have performed consistently well for you in a variety of saves, and subscribe to the FMSCOUT channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our uploads. So let's run the intro and get straight in to these top tier players. Okay guys, here we are on the first player. I'm not going to dally around for too long and look into every single attribute. We'll just do a quick overview of each player. So we're starting off with Datro Fofana of Molde. Molde, if I'm pronouncing that right, are a team in the Norwegian Premier Division. He's in their under-19 squad, so if you've got Norway loaded, you'll likely find this guy. The 17-year-old Ivorian is useful in a variety of positions, but particularly good on the wing, particularly the right wing where he is right-footed. He's going to be a winger that uses his pace to get forward and put the ball in. The area he shines the most in is his physical attributes. With a bit of development, you'll be looking at 15s, 16s in a majority of them. He needs a bit of work technically and mentally, but in every save he meets high criteria. I mean, if you have a look already, you can see the not hidden attributes of natural fitness and determination are above our values of 14, and on top of that he of course meets the requirements of all of the attributes that I mentioned at the start of the video, which should, providing he has some decent coaching, mean that he'll become a pretty good player in every save. Now the consistency thing is my favourite part about these players. I don't know if you guys know I did a video on this in the past, but consistency is a huge factor in how good a player is. They might have very high potential and current ability, but if their consistency is super low, it's going to mess up how they play in game. But this guy, Datro Fofana, is doing pretty well there. So that's the first player in this list. Hopefully you guys like him. There's going to be plenty of players around this kind of level for you guys to look at. So if you've got a save going, search him up. No matter what your save is, he's going to have those fixed attributes of 14 or higher, which means he should be a pretty good player in your saves under the right coaching. So that's Datro Fofana, and now let's move on to the next player in today's list. Okay, and on to the second player now. We're looking at Ibrahima Colley, but before we get into him, just a very quick mention that I do have at my own channel where we have a little save going at the minute, about to start the 3rd season of that. There's not too many episodes to catch up on. If you want to come check it out, we're very close to 2,000 subscribers now, only about 100 away from making it there. So if you want to come and check out my channel, link to the description, that would mean a lot. But Ibrahima Colley is a 20-year-old Gambian playing for Verona on loan from Atalanta. These are teams in the Serie A. In Italy, he's had 7 caps for Gambia already, and as you can see, he's 20. That is because, of course, if these players are going to have fixed attributes in certain areas, it means the majority of them will be older players because some of their attributes have already been set in stone as to what they're going to be in the future. But this guy is a very good player in my opinion. I mean, useful as an inside forward on the left, as a striker or an attacking midfielder. He's got plenty of good physical attributes to help him out, alongside some really nice mentals and some good technicals too. I'm surprised I haven't really came across this guy in the past. It's probably because he starts out on loan, which makes him a bit hard to get in the first season, but definitely a good one to keep your eye on. Providing the manager puts him in a decent tactic and all that good stuff and trains him right, he should always be performing at a level that respects the attributes he has. So many times you find a player who has really good attributes, but because their consistency is secretly low or their ambition is secretly low, they're not going to develop into the kind of player that you want or play to the ability that they should do. I know I am flying through the players here, but you guys aren't going to want me to sit here and specify every single attribute the player has. So they're for you to check out in your saves if you want to. So that is Ibrahima Colley. I know I've gone through him quite quick, but we're not going to dally on any of the players, so we can quickly get through them all and provide you guys with as much content as we can in a small space of time. So that's him. Now let's move on to the 3rd player in our list. Okay, so this time it's one of the more well-known players on the list. Again, he's a bit older than your usual Wonderkid of 16, 17, 18, and that is why some of their fixed attributes are set in stone when you load up a save, which means they'll always be performing at a similar level no matter what save you load up in the areas that we have specified. So Matteo Lovato is a 20-year-old Italian centre-back playing for Verona in the Serie A in Italy, and he is a very nice centre-back. Again, he is one that is more well known, and I think a lot of people are aware of this guy's talent. Physically, he's great, he's tall. Mentally, he's absolutely stunning. And then technically, he's really good too, with good marking, good tackling, and good heading. Everything's pretty good about this guy. There isn't really one place that he lacks. He doesn't excel in a particular area too well, but everywhere he's got a good foundation set of attributes that mean he should be a very good player for you guys to use. And I think he's a good centre-back in the future. Most saves I do, I see him playing for an Arsenal or something like that. So if you can get your hands on him, if he becomes available, then definitely do it and add him to your squad. On to a player now who is of a similar calibre, but isn't mentioned nearly as much as Lovato is, and that is Igor Diveev, the Russian 20-year-old playing for CSK Moscow in the Premier Division of Russia. He is a very nice centre-back and very similar to Lovato. He doesn't lack in a particular area too much either. Physically, very strong in all areas. Maybe he's not agile or super quick, but it doesn't matter too much. He's very strong, very tall, taller than Lovato, and mentally, again, in everywhere that he needs to, he has got some very nice attributes. Going over to his technicals too, he's good in the air. He's apparently got really good long shots from free kicks and corners, which is great for a centre-back. I guess he's got that going for him. He's good marking, good passing, good penalties as well. You've got a set-piece taker and a centre-back here, and he has some good tackling. So the 6'4" centre-back is a set-piece whiz. He's someone that I don't see people talking about enough, considering how good he looks here. A lot of people do aim to get them like 16, 17, 18-year-olds to mould them into the kind of players that they want. But if this kind of player is available, there's no reason not to go for him, because he is absolutely insane in terms of his attributes. I don't know how he doesn't come up more often in some of these videos. That is Igor Diveev of CSK Moscow. And now let's move on to the 5th player in our list, already halfway through. We're smashing through it. Okay, and we are here with 20-year-old Brazilian striker Brenner. Before we go into him though, if you guys want to let us know in the comments if there's any videos of this sort that you'd like to see. So obviously here we're looking at the best performers in game, or at least they should be, providing they get the right tactic and training. They'll at least perform at their attribute level, which many players will not. Is there anything like that you want to see? We toyed with the idea of showing like the best mentally good Wonderkids, the best physically good Wonderkids, that kind of thing. So if there's anything you particularly like to see, any kind of list, do let us know in the comments. So here is Brenner, the 20-year-old striker. He was a Wonderkid of bygone years in Football Manager. He still is, but he's not one that's talked about as regularly because he has now moved to the US of A. He moved for over £10 million, so he's not going to be one that you get your hands on too easily. But I mean, you can see what this guy's all about. He's a striker that has good physicals, good mentals, and good technicals, good in all areas, whether it's finishing or his heading or his passing, penalties, technique. He's got a really good set of base attributes to build upon. Reminds me a lot of Arazo, of course. Arazo is going to be a cheaper, younger option, but Brenner is someone that really, in every save, will perform at the same level, providing you guys train him right. And I really like the look of this guy. He's one that I completely forgot about because I don't really have the US of A loaded, so he's not one that appears too much for me in my saves. But he's definitely someone who could cause your team problems, and maybe in a couple years in your save, if he becomes available, if his contract starts running up, maybe you can get your hands on him and get a very good solid striker for your guys' teams. Okay, and now we head over to France, to Marseille, where we look at Franco Tongya, the new Italian signing from Juventus for Marseille. Apparently only valued at £300,000. Marseille have paid £7 million for him from Juventus, his under-23s team. And again, he's not one that's super standout in every area. I know people might say he's not super unknown because he's playing for Marseille and they're under-19s. Maybe a few of you have seen him in your saves, but I think the majority of these, they're not people that are regularly being bought. He's a really nice player, I think. I really like him as a Musah in the midfield, although you can use him in the attacking midfield role or on the wing. Now, he has some nice physical attributes that we're not going to go into every single one. Mentally, might need a bit of work in some areas, but in other areas, he's flourishing really, and then technically is probably where he needs the most work. If he's going to play midfield, his passing and tackling will need a bit of work, so maybe he is better on the wing, but I just think he's a nice player, and again, he's going to be one that is consistently the same kind of player when you load up a save. With the majority of these players who don't have fixed potential ability, their potential ability can fluctuate no matter what save you load up, but you can always count on these certain attributes being at the same level, and that isn't the case for most players in the game. That is Franco Tongya, and now let's move on to our final 4. Okay, and we're here with probably the most well-known player on this list. It's Yunus Musah of Valencia. The 17-year-old American is useful across the park, but particularly ends up being a very good central midfielder in most of the saves that I simulate. By the time he's 21, you can already see with this really good base set of attributes, he will become a very good player. And it's no coincidence that he always does well in my saves, because he does have these high consistency attributes, the high ambition, the high determination, all that good stuff. And physically, again, very strong. Mentally, he is pretty much flawless for his age. 17 years old with them kind of mental attributes is kind of unheard of, and technically, he's an all-rounder too. You can make him do whatever you want. Keep an eye out for Yunus Musah if you can get him from Valencia. Pick him up, and now let's move on to the next player in our list. The final defender in our list is Valentin Antov. Now, he comes from the Bulgarian league, from CSK Sofia, where he is on loan at Bologna in Italy. The 19-year-old Bulgarian is already getting appearances for the international team. He's useful in defensive midfield, but for me, he's definitely a centre-back. That's usually where I see him flourish in all of my saves. He's not going to go on to be the next Virgil van Dijk, but he is a very solid centre-back, someone that we actually looked at in our Lille save. He was a potential target for the centre-back role, but we couldn't get him because he went to a bigger team in the end. But Valentin Antov is a very nice player. Again, physically very strong. He's not the quickest in the world, but he's got all the other stuff. Jumping reach, strength, natural fitness, a bit of pace to be honest. He's just not that quick getting off the mark with his acceleration. Fairly tall too, really good mental attributes with nice teamwork, work rate, and then everything else kind of falls in nicely as well with aggression, bravery, even some nice leadership in there too. So who knows, maybe the potential future captain for your team here, or maybe even the captain of a Bulgarian national team, then technically is where he needs the most work. He's not going to be a ball playing defender, but as you can see here, no nonsense centre back, kind of does what it says on the tin. He's good at heading, good at marking, good at tackling. He'll get the ball, clear it away, and that is Valentin Antov's job. He's just an out and out defender, a very good one, and that leads us onto the final two players in today's video. Probably my least favourite player on this list because I don't really use target men and that kind of thing, but he's definitely a player that could do a job in the lower leagues or even at full development in the Premier League on the lower side. I can see this guy playing for Burnley in a few years' time. It's Preslav Borukov, who plays for Itar in the Bulgarian First Division. Another Bulgarian. This guy's 20 years old, so less room to grow, but that is why he does have the fixed attributes that we are looking for, and that means that in pretty much every save he will become a similar level of player. Physically, he has got everything you're looking for in a target man, I guess. He's tall, good jumping reach, naturally fit with strength and balance. He's not too slow either, but you know, he's not the quickest in the world. Mentally, he's good too. He's got everything that you kind of need. He's a good finisher, he's got good technique, and he's a good header of the ball. What more can you really say about this guy? He's probably the cheapest one on the list too. So if you want to try and find Preslav Borukov, if you have the Bulgarian leagues loaded, then you might find yourself a potential cheap superstar to score goals up front for your team. He's definitely going to be a threat from a corner or a long throw, and we know how useful they are in FM21. So that is Preslav Borukov, number 99 for Itar. And now let's move on to the final player in our list. Okay, final player now, guys. If you haven't already, smash the like button, and we are looking at Gökdeniz Bayraktar. Definitely pronounced that wrong. Sorry if I have done. He's a Turkish 18-year-old from Antalyaspor in the Super League in Turkey. I'm butchering all of these pronunciations, aren't I? Turkish language definitely does not come naturally to me. Physically, this guy is very good. He's a winger, if I didn't say 18-year-old winger who can also play up front, but for me, is definitely a winger. With his left foot, he can cut inside as an inside forward or an inverted winger. He's got good finishing, so I'd suggest inside forward. Physically, very strong. Mentally, great too. I mean, I can say very strong, great too about every player, but there's a reason they're on this list. They're consistent and they do what they say on the tin. They're great players. They're not going to be your Haalands and your Mbappes, but they can still be good players for your side should you pick them up. He's one of the younger ones in this list, but as I did say, physically he's got what he needs, and then technically he's got some nice technique, finishing, long shots, dribbling. For the inside forward role, he's definitely got the attributes he needs. Maybe working his passing a bit, first touch, that will come with time. By the time he's 21, he can be a very useful prospect on that right wing. So that is Gökdeniz Bayraktar. Again, definitely wrong, but that is the final player in today's list. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, something a little bit different. Let us know if you did enjoy it. Any feedback would be nice. Like, we don't want to do the under 1 million videos every other week, so at least with this kind of thing you get a bit of variety and maybe find players that you haven't looked at before. So hopefully I've enjoyed it. If you have, smash the like button, comment down below if you've used any of these players, if you have any other players that you know are consistently good for you in your saves, and subscribe to the FMSCOUT channel if you haven't already. Feel free to come check out my channel, linked in the description, as we go on the road for 2k subscribers. And with that being said, I think that's everything I need to, guys. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.